and he's talking like that. I don't know if when he says put the woke society to in their place. I don't know if he's talking about me because I mean I'm 68 years old, but I still have like ideas to make things better and this and that, and yet when he talks like that, it's like, we don't want to hear your ideas. We want to go with what our government wants, for their direction or agenda, and I don't think our government has an agenda other than the fight between the two parties,
Yeah.
And when you see the way they put things, if the president puts forward something, it's just a battle. It's like automatically a battle with the Republicans to find, problems with it.
Yeah.
Prenatal and natal care a woman needs until the time she gives birth. And then they also forget that, the woman is already a person. What happens if, they don't get that prenatal care and have a complication with birth and dies at birth or shortly after or whatever? It's like that to me, that's not a trade-off. You already have one live person, and you could have two, but because they're taking away all this other pre-birth health care and saying you're on your own again up until you give birth, it's like, what are you thinking? It's I mean, I've had kids and I've been in the delivery room with kids and coming, and I know there's a lot of stuff that you have to take care of health-wise before the baby's even born. And this, just because you ban abortion doesn't mean, okay, quit all this other, put all these other doctors that are trying to, steer women to having a healthy birth and that. And it's like, wow. And she should know better. She has kids and she has grandkids. And then just because the Supreme Court objected to it, that it turned over Roe versus Wade, just because they said, the problem doesn't go away. And I think a lot of the Republican thought all over the country on every issue is, if you don't fund something, the problem goes away. And you just can't do that. Whenever a Republican comes back in office, they try to defund somewhat of the armed forces. Not the troops and that, but like the arsenals and the whole, the part of the program instead of the whole program, and you can't do that. You have to have the arsenals and the administrative people in order to keep things running. And I'm sure that's the reason, Russia's army is having so much problems. And see, I was in Russia in 2005 and 2007, and a guy from our church talked me into going over to a mission where we had our church helped with a church in Vladimir, Russia.
Okay.
And so I went on there, and the group of us, there was 8 of us, we went over and we we visited the church, and we did some, you know, mission work for the church by talking to the students at the missionary that we went to, and then we also went to, we lived with some of the parishioners of the mission there, and so like myself and a couple others, we went and lived out in a village called Stary Devor, and we spent a week there and just going around the village, but during the day we were at the school.
Okay.
And they at an elementary school. Well, actually, it was a small school and went from kindergarten through 12th grade, but we saw so much. I mean, we had a thing where we prepared to go, you know, to Russia, and kind of the preparation was to learn what to, you know, look for and expect, you know, and try to understand what they think of Americans and this and that.
Okay, so sort of like
here's Iowa. They get subsidized with their biofuels.
Oh, okay.
And we still aren't lowering the prices on gas. And like this new guy that's running, I'm guessing he's a Republican. His name's Doug Burgum. He's the governor of North Dakota.
Okay.
You know, I like what he's saying on his commercials, because he says, this is what I want to do, and this is what I want to do, and this and that, and he talks where his background is, and see, his state has benefited because at the beginning of the pandemic, the government opened up drilling rights in his state, and the state of North Dakota, they've just had a flood of people there because it opened up so many oil jobs and, you know, peripheral jobs, and it's flooded that state with money. I mean, they're balancing their budget. They're running a surplus. Plus, they're using that money to fix their infrastructure and other things.
Yeah.
And, you know, why can't the rest of the country do that instead of holding back and just not moving forward with anything? We're just kind of settled and listen to the politicians make promises and then do nothing about them.
Are there any problems?
Yeah, so far like the flood wall and that sort of thing, and changing the one-ways. I mean, that's the craziest idea of everything, because I've lived and worked in Chicago and Milwaukee and visited all the other big cities around here, and there's not one city that I've visited that you can move through town, north and south, east and west. There's not one city I've visited that you can move through town better than what we have right now.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm a bit new to the one-ways, and I've done my best to navigate them. Have you been? It seems like you've had a great time.
Oh yeah, because you know, other than when the other thing the city of Davenport does poorly is, and I don't know how it is so much on their website, but they just don't tell people how and when and where they're putting up or they're doing road construction, and then detouring traffic when they do put up something. You know,
oh man,
they're really terrible at that.
Yeah, that's kind of becoming.
and this and that, and just everything is you know, like you have to make an appointment to go to the Treasury Department. I was down there a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, you're kidding. It used to be you take a ticket and you go in and you wait till you're served and this and that. Now you're still having the pandemic's over, and you still have to make an appointment, and then you know, for some of this stuff, and it's like, there's nobody in here. Why can't you just take me? You know.
Oh, so it sounds like they just like their process is really complicated.
Yeah, and their website, when I was online, their website, it moved you, it like shifted you to one site, and then it dead ended, and then it turned back to, and you can't call them, you know.
They gotta update their system.
Yeah, they have to update their system,
Yeah.
or let the Times know, or television stations know, or the radio stations know, and put out like public
public announcements.
and
Yeah,
that.
at least it's better coverage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even the Times, you know, coordinating with the Times more, because I know the Times has a website. Why don't you go from website to website, you know, and interact more?
Mm-hmm.
The city seems like they don't want to do that. They do it only in an emergency, like that sinkhole on Brady Street.
Mm-hmm.
A friend of mine that I golf with, he works in the old First Bank building, which is next to the Putnam and that, but he can look out, and he's still telling me that parts of River Drive's still closed because of that stuff, and the flood was what, 4 months ago, 3 months ago, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody said, oh, these streets are closed, and you know, you have to go this way or that way. It's just terrible.